Nightstand.
Because he was sex-starved.
I need an emotional connection.
You won't sleep with me, but you'll sleep with somebody else.
Secret affairs.
I grabbed Skyla's phone. I saw a picture of a guy in his underwear.
And volatile marriages.
Are you abusive to her?
I blacked out. When I woke up, I had my hands around her throat.
His probation officer warned me, don't marry him.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
We're going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
How you doing? How are y'all? Well, today we're talking about sex. Most everyone wants it, but not everyone can get it. Just this morning, I was driving to work listening to the radio, and Justin Timberlake is bringing sexy back. Madonna wants to justify her love, and Marvin Gaye says, let's get it on. But that's all good in the music world, but what happens when a husband says he isn't getting any from his wife for months at a time? Well, today we're talking to couples who say they are in a sexual standoff. My first guest, Reagan, says he's been forced into gambling, sexting, and having affairs. Forced. He says he does it because he needs an adrenaline rush because his boring wife refuses to have sex with him. Take a look. We'll talk.
Reagan has told me that if I don't give him more sex, he will go out and find excitement on his own. That is ridiculous for him to hold me responsible for keeping him excited all the time.
I just feel that better and more sex leads to a better relationship with us.
Boredom is my enemy.
I don't want to feel like I have to constantly try and be exciting for you so you won't go behind my back doing God knows what.
I have a problem with adrenaline, and I will use the adrenaline to get excitement, whether it's getting a text from a female, gambling, or watching sports.
If you want to have a good sex life, put some effort into meeting me emotionally. I mean, come on. Plus, I have to worry about keeping my husband excited and satisfied, or he's gonna go and betray me. Reagan tells me that he gambles, he cheats, because he's bored. I think that's bullcrap. I'm bored all the time, and I don't do that. So what about the husbands that aren't cheating and sexting and gambling? Are they never bored? I feel a lot of resentment towards Reagan, and I have no sexual desire towards a man that acts like a teenager.
Well, after Reagan's last affair, Sarah says he told her, quote, she sucks as a wife and is a meal ticket looking dirtbag. And as if it couldn't get any worse, she found out about the affair from her 6-year-old son.
One day we were driving down the road, and our son Grayson looks at me and says, "Hey Mom, I saw on Daddy's phone this video of this girl." I was shocked. I just thought, what on earth? What could he have seen?
Sarah kind of looked at me crazy, like, what's he talking about? And by the time that I could show her a picture or she could see a picture, I had deleted the picture. I actually made it sound like he was crazy. He didn't know what he was looking at.
Grayson got his phone and said, "Look, I'll show you where I found it." He knew exactly where he saw it, and it wasn't there anymore, mysteriously. I asked Reagan, what could this have been? And he's like, I don't know, maybe he clicked on an app on Twitter. And I just thought, wow, I didn't know they allowed that kind of stuff on Twitter. A few months later, I happened to look through his phone and saw some pictures of his penis. I found it odd that they were on there because he was not sending them to me. So I knew somebody was getting some pictures. When I first confronted him, his response was, oh, I was bored. I knew then, Grayson, he was telling the truth. I confronted Reagan about the pictures, and he did admit that, yes, he had been sending pictures and receiving them from another woman. He did make that video and sent it to her.
That was nobody's hand but mine.
I mean, if he recognized your stuff, don't you think he'd know the difference between your hand and a female's hand?
It was my hand. She never touched me to take the picture.
Reagan will admit to cheating on me twice. Once when I was pregnant with our first child, and then this past time when I caught him sexting.
Okay. Tell me your goal being here today. What's a home run for you?
A home run for me would be to save my marriage.
But you really want me to get her to have a better attitude too, right?
That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, come on, let's just be honest here. We got to be honest here, because you want a better relationship and you want it to be sexual. You want there to be an active sex life.
Right.
What would be reasonable for you? I know averages are just averages, but what would you think?
I mean, twice a month would be awesome.
But what would be your ideal situation?
Oh,
Weekly, twice a week, 3 times a week? What would be your ideal situation?
I mean, daily would be great.
Yeah.
I know that's, I mean, I
No,
can't do
I'm
that.
just saying, let's just put it out there. Whatever you think. What would be your reasonable, what would you think would be ideal?
Well, I'd say twice a week would be healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you would just think you died and gone to heaven if it went to twice a week, right?
Sure
You'd
would.
think,
Sure
wow.
Sure would.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a smart guy?
Yeah, I think I'm smart.
Like your mother didn't like drop you on your head or anything when you were a baby or anything?
Well, nobody talked about that, so I don't guess.
Because here's my problem. Let me tell you my problem that I got to get through to help you with her.
Right.
Because I don't have any credibility with her right now until we talk about some things with you. Is it true that 6 or 7 months ago you were exchanging nude texts?
Yes, I was.
And then you got drunk and had a one-night stand?
I did.
What about these pictures your son found on the mobile device, on your phone?
It was a video that he found.
Yeah.
Video, I couldn't even remember. It's kind of a blur to me. But he got on there, and he had rolled through the pictures and videos. They're on the same thing, and I guess he slid across, saw it, and just pushed play. And saw it.
What's blurry about this? You said it was kind of blurry to you.
Well, it's...
What's blurry about it? Was that you?
Yes, that was me, most certainly.
Nothing blurry about that.
No, sir.
But then she found numerous pictures of your private parts on your phone as well.
Exactly.
Are those for distribution?
I just sending them to the female.
You sent her to that same person?
Right.
Did you tell her she sucks as a wife and is going to, quote, pay for being a piece of and a meal ticket looking dirtbag?
Yeah, I did. I did.
You're sure your mother didn't drop you on your head? Under what theory, under what strategy could you possibly, look, I'm a guy, I'm trying to understand you here. Under what theory could you sit down and say, okay, I think I'll have this internet pictorial exchange with some woman. My son will find those, then she will see those. Then I'm going to tell her she's a piece of and she sucks as a wife and is boring. I can't figure out why I'm not getting more sex. What? You know, I've got some friends that are real mouth breathers, and they know better than that.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't get it. Next, let's take a break. This couple has an 8-year history of breakups, makeups, physical abuse, and betrayal. We're going to talk about all of that in addition to what we've put out so far as soon as we come back.
Sarah and I have fought for nearly the 7 years that we have been together.
When I confronted Reagan about him cheating on me when I was pregnant, he told me, "F you and your girl power," and told me I was a whore.
Tomorrow on Dr. Phil.
Her husband was not exactly who he claimed to be.
Dr. Timothy Sabulsi, James Sadulsi, Andrew, TJ, Jimmy.
Did she marry an imposter?
There was never any lies. Did I hold a NASCAR driving license? Yes, I did.
NASCAR said he never completed the application. Where did you get your PsyD?
Regis, University of Budapest.
University of Budapest doesn't exist.
I'm sweating it.
That's tomorrow.
There was a time when Reagan asked if he could borrow my ID to set up an account on a gambling website, and I told him absolutely not. I later found out that he did, in fact, take my license. He then went and got my birth certificate and faxed them a copy. I find on my credit card statement that there's about $400 worth of charges. He had taken my identity and was gambling. It really upset me that I felt violated. He laughed and said that was ridiculous. He said I was overreacting.
Sarah and her husband Reagan are here to try to fix their 2-year marriage. Now, I think a lot can be learned by looking back at a couple's history. So let's take a quick look.
The past 8 years have been a roller coaster. We dated about a month before I got pregnant. Once I quit drinking, I would see him drink and end up having these emotional outbursts that were very scary. We were out one night and he got upset and started yelling at me, calling me a whore and saying some really ugly things. I was scared. I ended up deciding to have an abortion. Afterwards, I just told him that I miscarried. A few months later, I told him that I had really had an abortion. I felt like I needed to make up for the mistake I made, and I wanted to believe that we could make it work.
Sarah and I have fought for nearly the 7 years that we have been together.
When I confronted Reagan about him cheating on me when I was pregnant, he told me, "F you and your girl power," and told me I was a whore.
When Sarah found out that I had cheated, she was mad enough to hit me in the face.
When I was pregnant with our daughter, he pinned me up against a truck and I punched him in his nose and he threw me to the ground and he dragged me around by my feet in the grass. There was another time I was on the phone when he grabbed me around the neck and threw me on the bed, and of course Grayson was standing there witnessing the whole thing. From cheating, the gambling, the sexting, he's never sincerely been sorry.
Are you just so used to this that you just, I don't know, kind of have a lackadaisical attitude about it?
In a way.
I mean, we're talking about this and you're sitting there like you're waiting to order lunch.
I definitely...
It seems like I'm more energized about this than either one of you two.
No. This has to be fixed. We have to come to some kind of something today, or I mean, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Well, you've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I said history. I look over your shoulder here. I basically put together just a timeline of y'all's relationship so we have a sense of what's been going on here. Okay, you two meet in 05. Okay, you get pregnant. Okay, what happens to this pregnancy?
We wanted to have the baby, and after some things took place, I got scared and had an abortion.
What took place?
Well, we were out one night, and my ex-boyfriend showed up, and he tried to pick a fight with him, and I tried to stop it, and he got mad at me and called me a whore and acted a fool.
Okay, so you had warning. Something went off in your head. This isn't okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So you have your first breakup in 06, and you go to mom's house, right?
Yes.
Now, after this second chance, then you have a one-night stand, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is a second warning for you. But come along here, you have a second breakup and you go to your mother's. Then you have a third breakup and you go to your mother's. Then you have a fourth breakup and you go to your mom. And then you have a fifth breakup and you go to your mom's house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times you said, no, 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 no. I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. And in all the ones here that are yellow, I put those in yellow because there's physical abuse that is alleged in all of these. You say he pushed you and pinned you down?
He did.
If I put my hands on Sarah, it was usually in defense of keeping her from whooping up on me because she's pretty fiery.
I don't completely agree with that.
I've never intentionally gone out and grabbed you.
You have. You absolutely
Well,
have.
actually, she says in 09 that you grabbed her around the neck, threw her on the bed, and your son was watching.
Yeah.
Yes, that happened.
And then in 11, you called her a liar and a slut. Then you called your mother-in-law at 3 a.m. in the morning, repeated it all for her. Then the next day, you got in a fight, pushed her up against the truck, then grabbed her by the foot and swung her around, and she was 3 or 4 months pregnant. Did that happen?
That happened.
That did happen.
That did happen. Okay.
But me dragging her by the foot could also be her kicking at me and me holding her foot away, because I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't just drag her around the yard.
You're pretty sure?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. You're pretty sure?
No, I'm positive.
I did punch him in the nose. But I think he was pretty pissed after I did that, and I'm sure it wasn't just me kicking at him for
You were
being
on the ground. I was actually standing up, and you were kicking at me.
How did I get on the ground?
Well, after you punched me in the nose, I don't even remember anything after wiping the blood on you, and that's when you got real mad.
This is when you called her mother at 3 a.m. in the morning to tell her daughter's a whore and a slut?
Yeah, this is the next day.
Yeah. Okay. Why did you do that?
I'm pretty sure that was alcohol involved, and I just...
Pretty sure you're a little blurry on that one, too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had a warning before you ever got married. Then we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 breakups. You're always going home to mama. You're punching him in the nose. He's slamming you against the pickup, dragging you around the yard, calling you names. Why is this okay?
I'm not okay with it, and it's not okay. And looking back, I can't believe it. This is it. I'm ready to fix it and move forward or be done. I don't want to do this anymore.
You start gambling, because that's a thrill.
I started, yes, I did.
Did you lie to her about it?
Yes, I hid that from her.
3 times?
3 different times, yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a break. Sarah says she has something she needs to reveal in order for this marriage to move forward. We're going to find out what that's about. And I got a question about this gambling when we come back.
I am a woman. I need an emotional connection. It's all about you, what you want, you getting satisfaction. And it's not fair.
Six months ago, Sarah and I got into a fight.
He had gotten upset. We started arguing. He told me, you. Things escalated. He started throwing things. I told him, I'm not doing this anymore. I called the cops. I heard him on the phone telling somebody, she called the cops on me, retarded bitch. When the cops showed up, I left that day. I moved in with my parents, and I've been there ever since.
Well, I'm here with Sarah and Reagan, who say their marriage is, well, it's at a standstill. They're not living in the same state. They haven't been together. Sarah says, look, this is it. We're going to turn this around, and we're going to shut it down one way or the other. There's a child in the mix. How you deal with your son?
I mean, I'm hard on my son. I'm harder on my son than my daughter, for sure. My son, I don't know. I watch her tell him to do something 4 times, and I don't want to have to do that. I think 1 time's good enough.
Apparently wasn't for you.
Well, true.
She told you, don't cheat, don't gamble, don't hit me, don't call me names. Apparently you aren't a one-trial learner. Why the hell should he be? He's 6.
Right, and I want something better for him.
Yeah? What kind of model are you providing?
Not a great one right now. Not a great one.
I mean, that's the problem, right? I mean, you want better, but so you got to be better, right? You got to do better. Sarah has something that she wants to reveal to her husband, but says she needs my help to do it. She wasn't sure she'd be able to share this particular secret on stage, so she put it on tape.
Since Reagan and I have been separated, I ran into an old friend. Feelings developed on both sides. It turned into a romance. One thing led to another. We were intimate on a few different occasions. It felt great to be made to feel like I was invaluable. I'm not sure that Reagan's ever really made me feel like that. After being with him a few times, I realized that I needed to end it. He was developing feelings for me that I couldn't reciprocate. This may be embarrassing for me to tell Reagan, but I'm glad that I'm able to do it here so that Dr. Phil can help me with my guilt and Reagan with whatever anger he may have towards me.
What do you think about that?
It's kind of not a secret to me because I kind of figured that would happen because the times we've split before, it happens. She goes...
I'm a slut, remember?
I don't know. It's one of our biggest arguments. We get in our biggest arguments are about sex, and then it turns into me telling her, you know, I don't understand that, yeah, I'm not a perfect guy. No, I've done stupid stuff, okay? But I take care of you. I take care of our family. You know, I make it where you don't have to work. You don't have to do anything except take care of the kids. But it makes me feel like crap when we could split up and it takes no time and she can sleep with somebody and whatever. I mean, I'm like, well, you won't sleep with me, but we'll split up. You'll sleep with somebody else. And now that's when I get angry.
What do you say?
You know, this is exactly what I've tried to get across to him even before this happened. I am a woman. I need an emotional connection. There's no communication. You are so disengaged in our marriage, in our life. I mean, it's like I'm supposed to do my duties and you just go to work and you sit there and look pretty and you know, have sex with you. I'm telling you, you need physical, I need emotional. Meet me in the middle. This is about compromise. Let's compromise. Talk to me, communicate, give me some attention. I mean, it's like it's all about you, what you want, you getting satisfaction. And it's not fair.
What is it about you that thinks you are entitled to just go entertain yourself whatever you want to, whether it's gambling or sending pictures? Women? Do y'all want to see that? I've never been under the misapprehension that I do 8-minute cures up here. I don't. But I tell people the truth as I see it. I try to be an emotional compass and point you where you need to go. And there are some things that you need to acknowledge. You have a very misogynistic, immature attitude towards women in marriage. You say, you know, I make the money and you don't have to work. All you got to do is take care of the kids. Well, she can make a better deal than that, is the bottom line. Because if you think, A, that taking care of the kids is a walk in the park, you ought to try it for a couple of weeks. And this attitude about I can just get mad and we start shoving and hitting and pushing each other, it's just wrong. It's just absolutely wrong, and you are modeling this for your children. Now, I don't know about this adrenaline problem that you have. You may be ADHD. I don't know. You certainly show all the signs of it. You certainly show signs of having an intermittent explosive disorder where you can get angry and or impulsive at different times and do things that might seem like a really good idea at the time, but in retrospect, they're not in your best interest. You say, I punch him in the nose when he's doing this or that. Come on. You've got children here, Sarah. You guys don't model this. And you need to find out what is it about you that thinks you are entitled to just go entertain yourself whatever you want to, whether it's gambling with money for the family or it's sending pictures. And I don't care what they tell you. They don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's stupid.
They don't want to see that. Women, do y'all want to see that? Do you know what misogynistic means? Do you know what chauvinistic means?
I do.
Do you know what jerk means?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. She sees you as behaving in a jerky way towards her. And look, she's no princess here. I could make a whole list of your misdeeds. Both of you need some help, and you've got kids in the middle that deserve you doing the work.
I agree.
Now, if I set each of you up to do that, will you do it?
Absolutely.
And I don't want you back together yet. I want you to at least spend some time with a professional to talk to you about your duties as a wife and a mother, what you are to protect your children from. And I need somebody to sit down and talk to you about being a man.
Right.
About being the man of this family. Instead of a boy with no impulse control. And I have a sneaking suspicion you can do a really good job of changing this. And it's going to involve some evaluation. You may have some neurological things where you just don't pump the brakes when other people do. And so we need to figure that out so we could help you with that. If you will take it.
I will.
Fair enough?
Don't.
Okay, fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay, not back together until then. All right, next. She says her husband is even worse. She says he has tantrums like an angry child when she says no to sex. She says he punches holes in the walls when he doesn't get his way. We're going to find out if they can put an end to this newlywed sexual standoff, and I want you two to watch the next story because there are traces. They're just a little earlier in the game than y'all are. We'll be right back.
Skyle and I, before we got married, had a wonderful sex life, probably 5 or 6 times a day.
So we're going from having sex 6 to 7 times a day to not at all, or 1 time a week, 2 maybe, if he's lucky.
Well, Skyla says that her newlywed marriage is turning into a total nightmare because she just doesn't want to have sex with her husband. Ryan says it all changed on their wedding night when she refused to consummate the marriage. Now, Skyla says Ryan acts like a child when she says no. He throws tantrums, he throws fits, he punches holes in the wall. He gets mad and stomps around. Now, both say they do want a solution to their sexual standoff. Take a look.
Skyle and I, before we got married, had a wonderful sex life, probably 5 or 6 times a day.
After we got married, our sex life became almost non-existent. Ryan and I were having sex, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I heard a pop, and then I got a really sharp pain.
From there on out, sex for her was very painful, and it pushed her away from it.
And it got to a point where it started psychologically messing with me. So we're going from having sex 6 to 7 times a day to not at all, or 1 time a week, 2 maybe, if he's lucky.
It really made a big impact, especially as active as I am. I was bummed out. Skyla, she's very comfortable in her skin, and she likes to walk around the house naked, and it entices me big time.
I do walk around naked, not to tease him, because it's comfortable.
I do get angry when I feel like she's leading me on. I turn into child sometimes and walk around the house like a little kid with a temper tantrum, and like to slam doors and get angry just because I'm sexually frustrated.
Ryan shows his anger in a lot of different ways. Screaming and yelling is one of them. He used to punch walls.
I feel like I'm giving her more pleasure than I get in return, and it's unfortunate, and it makes me frustrated.
Okay, you just kind of watched a synopsis of your life situation on tape. Tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now.
I hate that it's had to come to this. I'm 18, you know, I really hate that I have this relationship with my husband when I'm this young. You know, these aren't issues that you should be having this early.
Right.
Or at all. This is not what I wanted for our marriage or for myself.
What did you want?
Happily ever after is what I wanted. I wanted a good, strong marriage because I never had that growing up with my parents.
What's your take on all this after watching a little synopsis?
You know, it's truth. You know, I have anger issues, and it's resulted a lot from my childhood. And it needs to be resolved, and I'm willing to work on it. You know, I love this woman, and I want this to work.
What are you so angry about?
It's not that I'm so angry. It's more like I have a chip on my shoulder at all times.
Are you physically abusive to her?
Yeah, I am. But she is as well to me.
What have you done that you consider physically abusive?
She kneed me in the face. I blacked out, it seemed like, and when I woke up, I had her on the ground with my hands around her throat.
Have you pinned her down to the ground to the point that she thought she was going to be smothered to death, choked to death, and hyperventilated?
I wouldn't say that. That's getting pretty excessive. I have pinned her down. She has anxiety issues, and I've pinned her down to where she's absolutely freaked out. Yes.
Well, are you trying to trivialize it or minimize it? Because you're saying, oh, yeah, say whatever you want to say.
No, you could say I'm trying to minimize it. I guess it's, I don't know.
It's come to the point where, you know, I want to make it work, but at the same time I want to leave because I'm afraid at points, especially when he's choked me, that he's going to kill me, and I have a daughter that I need to be around for.
Have you grabbed her to the point that you left bruises on her?
Yeah.
I got told when we first got together by his probation officer at the time, she warned me, don't marry him. He's going to abuse you. Don't marry him. He has anger problems. And I said, no, he loves me. He would never do that to me.
When you first got married, y'all were having sex 6 or 7 times a day?
Mm-hmm.
Was that enough?
Yeah, at that point.
What was your experience of that?
I was happy. I mean, it was what it is. I think now it's to the point where, one, we have everything after what's all been said and done. He says sorry and expects it to go away, where I forgive him, but I still feel that hurt. So there's that, and then there's the fact that we do have a daughter. It is hard to find time to do stuff, and while she's only 9 months old, it takes a lot out of me, especially because I take care of her, but then he expects me to take care of him as well. Not just sexually, but physically, emotionally.
We're going to come back and talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about what Ryan says he caught Skyla doing that devastated him. And then we're going to talk about what else is going on here. We'll be right back.
Skyla's day, from the time her eyes open until the time her eyes close, is on the internet. I provide for her, I feed her, I clothe her. When I come home, I should not have to come home and clean and cook myself food. She's lazy.
Dallas area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or call 323-461-PHIL.
One time I grabbed Skyla's phone and I noticed that there was a message from another man. I saw a picture of a guy standing in his underwear in front of a mirror, and the guy was ripped, and Skyla had sent him pictures of her.
I was mad at Ryan for how he was treating me, and I just wanted someone to talk to. The other part of it is I can't sleep at night, and I was bored, so I was, sure, why not?
It tore me up. It tore my trust away from her. It just absolutely destroyed my trust that I had for her.
Okay, what do you think needs to happen here?
I think that we both need to figure out, like the last couple said, a place to meet in the middle. I need to meet her emotional needs, and I need to deal with my anger, and my sexual aggression.
What do you think needs to happen here?
I think there's a lot of little things that are making the big thing. Our problem is it's a cycle. He acts how he acts because of some of the things I do. I act the way I act because, his ways toward me. We need to break that cycle. Like I said, I love him. I want to stay with him, and I want to make it work, which is why I'm here, because I want to put a stop to it. I don't want to feel like my husband is going to kill me. I don't want to feel abused. I don't want to feel threatened. One of my main issues, which I really haven't portrayed to him, is pornography. It's really hard for me. He looks at it, he watches it, and as a new mom, it's hard.
What? Finish your sentence. As a new mom.
I'm just so, yeah, he says I'm beautiful, and I believe it. I know I'm pretty, I know all that stuff, but I'm still uncomfortable with my body and the changes. And then he's looking at these girls, and it's hard. It makes me feel really insecure about myself.
What do you think about that?
I think she's right, and I can see why, and I can understand why. It's an emotional need that she needs to feel beautiful about herself. I have no excuse why I do it.
Your wife is sitting here in front of you just crushed and devastated because she feels inadequate and inferior to these fantasy pictures that you look at.
I can't compete with that.
And your response was to completely ignore that. Empathetically, you could have realized how much you have hurt the woman you supposedly love and is the mother of your child. You could have looked her in the eye and felt her pain that you caused and said, I now see what that does to you, and I am so terribly sorry. I apologize for that. It is disrespectful. You deserve better. And I'm sorry to see you in this pain that I've caused. That would have been another choice.
You're right. I do have empathy for her. I have a hard time showing it. I do feel for her. She's right. When I see her crying, it hurts me badly. And to know that I've treated her the way I have, I regret it extremely. I love this woman with all my heart.
I think we have two very damaged individuals here that are now damaging each other. I'm going to tell you why I think that. I'm going to tell you what I think needs to happen to give you guys a chance when we come back. Stop justifying your inactivity and avoiding the challenge of change. For help getting started, go to drphil.com for 11 seasons of advice, articles, and exclusive videos you won't find anywhere else. Plus, sign up for the Dr. Phil community to share your story and find support from others, all on drphil.com. Well, I'm here with newlyweds Skyla and Ryan, who say they need help with their relationship, and specifically Ryan's sexual aggression. He says he just doesn't have control when he's angry. He admits to putting his hands on her in anger sometimes and even blacking out while he's doing it. He said to her, "You're lucky I don't knock your face into the ground." Now, it's nothing new to you that you have an anger issue. You did not have a great relationship with your mother, true?
You're right, I did not.
you wound up in foster homes.
Several.
And you have to understand, and I'm not making excuses for him, but you have to understand that children that grow up in that kind of situation and wind up in a foster system, which is a very broken system, that they kind of become very self-sufficient, and sometimes it's just in a survival mode, and all they can think about is themselves. And so that doesn't mean that this is a bad guy. It just means he's had a rough road along the way and doesn't necessarily even understand what that chip on his shoulder is all about. I look at your history and background, and I know that you have been abused and molested for most of your life until just a very short time ago.
I really haven't told anyone about the situation. I told Ryan and he got mad at me for it, which I understand, you know, when people
don't understand. You said he got mad at me for it. I understand. No, don't understand. Do not be mad at her for being victimized by some pervert son of a bitch throughout her life. Don't be understanding about him being upset about that. That's wrong. That should never happen to you. I'm sorry that's happened to you. I hope you prosecute him till the absolute ends of the earth. You have to be sensitive to that. You've got to start saying, I got to think about somebody besides myself.
Right.
I've got to say, let me put myself in her shoes for a minute and wonder what kind of chaos is going on in her head when she's been through everything she's been through, and now here I come at her just, It's like, my God, is there anything else in life besides me being used for sex? So you need to fix it here now. Let me help you with that. Let's get some help where you two can learn to come together and grow together and give your child a chance and give your marriage a chance. And you deserve some help. Okay? All right, I want to thank all of my guests today. If you have someone that you know is in an abusive relationship, go to drphil.com. You can find information on my End the Silence on Domestic Violence campaign. And we're very excited about this. My wife, Robin, has just launched a very important program called the Aspire Initiative that is all about educating you about this kind of abuse. And there's something called the Aspire News app, which could be the lifeline that saves your very life. If you need help right this minute, call National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Thanks for being here.